Happy Wednesday, folks, even though it's technically still Tuesday. And then this would win YouTube King, I believe it was YouTube King, gave me the suggestion. Correct me if I was wrong. Pretty sure I was right. I wrote it down and I erased it after I'm like, I'm doing this one next. Gave me the suggestion of Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead versus Walter White from Breaking Bad. Now, obviously, this is going to be a very human confrontation. With Rick Grimes, he was a police officer, then the zombie out. He was in critical care for a while. He wasn't in a coma, was he? I don't watch Walking Dead. All admissions here. I do not. I'm not a big fan of it. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I also am not a big fan of wow, Game of Thrones. That was the word I was. That was the thing I was like. Well, yeah, I'm also not a big Game of Thrones guy either. I am a rare breed indeed. But no, I do know he was a police officer, so that means he has basic police training. He's okay in a hand-to-hand situation. I believe he carries a 45 on him. Does he? He carries that pretty much a hand cannon, but it's a 6-shooter, 6 or 8. I can't recall. Damn it! It's a revolver though, which means it's not an easy magazine. You gotta load. But this also makes for a good blunt force trauma weapon. He's also particularly savage now that the zombie outbreak is happening. It's pretty much just survival of the fittest, having bit a man's throat and basically caused him to bleed out. Also, he's pretty decent at improvising. When you're in the zombie apocalypse, you gotta improvise, and we've seen that a couple times. Despite not actually watching the show, I've obviously seen some bits of the show, clips, things along those lines. Yeah, and he's just all around pretty cold and merciless on the battlefield when it comes to like dealing with the undead and horrifying human behavior. Walter White, or also known as Heisenberg, say my name. I am the danger. Walter White was a chemistry teacher, not professor, teacher in high school. Diagnosing cancer. There was problems financially going on in his family, and he went to making meth. Now, he is not, in any real terms, a fighter. I mean, yeah, he could throw a punch and whatnot. Anyone could throw a punch. But he's not a guy who he had no combat training or any sort of real training that's worth noting. Instead, he relied more on his wits and his intelligence, which played out pretty well. I know because Mythbusters did a bunch of Breaking Bad, and it's at one point where he did that chemical combination that he just threw on the ground and like exploded like almost like a hand grenade, and then he had a whole freaking pouch of it, and he was like, "I'll drop it." But Mythbusters proved that didn't work the way we'll assume for the sake of the show for the sake of this fight, it worked the way it does in the show. So he's got that little surprise there. Also, he at one point rigged a Gatling gun, more or less, or a machine gun of some kind in his trunk, and he mowed down pretty much everyone, including himself a little bit. He ended up catching himself there. So he's very resourceful, very quick-witted, and very intelligent. However, just because he's that doesn't mean he would automatically win the fight. It all depends on how the fight's set up. Now, if these guys are meeting on equal terms, no. I'm going to give it to Rick. Rick's just the more... And there's no real scenario here I can paint out, like how I do a play-by-play. It's like, oh, and then this guy punched this guy, but wait, this happened. This isn't one of those fights. Because it's basically, I'm just going to tell you, it's going to come down to scenario. If they're meeting on an even playing field, I'm going to give it to Rick. Simply because Rick's the more actual combat-oriented, and so he's actually in the midst, usually fighting zombies, people shooting them, punching them, hitting them, whatever. Weird. Sorry, it's a distraction. But if it's a scenario where if either of them have time to prepare, I'm going to give it to Walter White. Sorry, there was a distraction there. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Walter White simply because Walter has shown a more, what's the best way to put it? He's shown himself able to have preparation time. That's not the word I'm looking for. he's better handles himself when he's able to have prep time. That's guess where he can prep better than Rick can, from what I can tell. Again, he's got contingencies as well. He's got more contingencies than uh and then Rick again. He had the exploding chemical composition. He had he developed the machine. He had the machine gun in the trunk. So overall, he's just easily more. He's almost Batman. Like he's like, I got some backup plans here just in case something goes wrong. Whereas Rick is just the guy, but also two different shows too. So it's not like Rick has access to like the amount of equipment that Walter had, because Walter pretty much amassed God knows how much money from dealing meth. But still, now percentage wise, here's the thing: I gave you two scenarios, and both these guys has a better chance than the other guy in those scenarios. So if I were to merge them and give Walter even just a little bit of prep time, like some sort of backup, I'd probably still give it. I would give it to Walter in his very slight edge. It would not be high. It would be like a 55 to no, it would be a little high. It'd like be a 40 to 60 split. Um, but and again, it's just because like that explosive chemical composition he had at that point. Or in that one episode, that would be like he'd probably like have some of that and like threatens like, oh, you want to see what this does, and then throws it, and then Rick's like kind of surprises it. You want to see what a whole bag of that can do? So I can definitely see, I could definitely see that one being the more likely scenario. Hi, baby. Just petting the pup up, petting the pup up. So anyway, yeah, I think overall it goes to Walter, and it's really only by a margin. It's nothing huge. But hey, let me know if you think different. If you do, that's cool. Let me know. Put in comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. At who would win, Star Wars, Superhero Magic, what if, anything I do on the channel, put that in comments below as well, too. This week, I made an error this week. It's still going to be Coco this week is what I'm seeing. But I forgot that Coco actually, because it's Thanksgiving weekend, Coco actually came out today, Tuesday, or yesterday, technically, Tuesday. I'll still probably see it over the week, don't get me wrong. And I actually saw Justice League earlier tonight, and I, again, for the second time, and I gotta say, now that I can actually watch it a second time with, like, eyes that, those kind of eyes, I'm like, you know, I actually liked it a bit more this time. And you know, the Superman mouth thing didn't bother me as much. Now that I actually could just accept it. Steppenwolf still looked like shit. And there was some minor other issues in there, but overall it was still a really good time. And while it wasn't a packed house, the theater was about half full, maybe about half full, maybe about 3 tenths, I guess is the way to put it. Or like 4/10 of the way there. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. So that'd be about what, 2/5. Yeah, they're about 2/5 of the way full. So it was, and everyone was kind of seemed to be having a good time. So obviously the movie's not going to be doing well, kind of, or is not currently doing well. However, I think that does give it at least some hope for some repeat viewings. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time, and have a good night.